Hello, fabulous people. This is the Together podcast, and this is the place where Cherise and I come together to help you get it together for your everyday business life. So we hope you enjoy.
Word. Okay, your hair looks great.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Working on a new little style cut for the summer. Thank you so much.
All right, so we are live and we are recording. So, hey, everybody. All right.
Good morning. Happy Tuesday morning, everyone.
All right, how you been doing the last 2 weeks?
I've been good. Head down, focused, getting some things. You know, I told you I've been working on this foundation. It's so much deeper than you could ever imagine, but it's good. No complaints. That's
good. Well, I've been on vacation, and then I got back from vacation on Friday, and I got sick.
Oh,
so I've been in the couch and on the bed for the last 3 days. So this is the first event that I've got up for. So I'm not mentally there yet. So I'm sorry. And if I mute myself, it's because I'm coughing.
Remember that was
right
a few weeks ago. Remember I couldn't.
Right.
The allergy. I was like, those were bad.
Yeah, it's not good. I think the baddest thing is, it's just you don't function. It's just like I'm sitting there. Like this morning, somehow I lost 15 minutes. Like, I don't know if I was laying in the bed and lost 15 minutes, but I was like, how you lose 15 minutes? Like, just like that. Your mind isn't clicking on all cylinders because you're using all your extra energy to breathe. And so anyway, that's where I am this morning. I don't have a topic or anything. Do you have a topic for us today? I hope you do.
I do. I do have a couple of questions though.
Okay.
And this is coming natural. So, because, all right, number one, do you plan when you come back off of vacation, do you plan for rest days to get back in?
I do. And I'm so mad that my rest days were sick days this time.
Yeah,
but I do. We got back on Friday. So my plan was to do nothing all day Saturday. All day Sunday was just to do nothing. And then Monday, I was going to start getting myself back into work mode, clearing out the emails and just lightly kind of planning the week and checking up on anything that I missed. And none of that has happened. So, and I don't know if I got sick because I ran myself down during vacation. So I took all together, we had 9 kids in a water park. And right. And so being in the water every day, chasing kids every day. So I don't know if I ran myself down, or I don't know if my body didn't like some combination of the water going into the air conditioning, going back into the heat or something like that. But I have learned that once you go on a trip, vacation, to come back and give yourself that space. If for nothing else, to unpack your bags, because I'm so good for leaving my bags packed for 2 months before it gets unpacked, and I can't find that one outfit. Then I'm like, it's probably in the suitcase from the trip. So I've learned that I just got to figure out how to come off vacation and not get sick. And it's been a thing, getting sick after vacation has been a thing for me. So something I'm doing, vacationing wrong or not sleeping well on vacation or something I'm doing. I got to figure it out. So if anybody out there listening to us who's a doctor, tell me what I'm doing wrong so that when I come back on vacation, I don't spend apparently the 3 days I just spent on the bed and in the couch.
So one thing you have to do is start preparing your immune system. So anytime you're traveling outside of your environment, especially outside of the country, I know you were in the States, right?
Yeah.
But you have to start boosting your immune system. So whatever you're doing on a regular, how are you with your vitamins and supplements?
I do a really good job taking my vitamins. I'm not perfect. I'm probably a good 5 out of the 7 days of the week I get all my vitamins.
Okay, good. So before vacation or even before any high level time, you should up all that and add all the
Oh,
things that you need to add for your immune system. Any
okay.
immune booster, even a detox, anything that can, protect you, clear you out, purge you, just get you ready and
Okay.
boost the immune system. Because you have to think about if you're leaving your environment for 2 weeks, which is your normal environment home,
Yeah.
and you're going outside of it, you're accessible to any and everything.
Okay. I
So,
hadn't thought about it like that. And I will say, because you're on vacation, whereas when I'm at home, I'm so good about my vegetables. So, like, I'm eating
yeah,
vegetable omelet for breakfast, and I'm doing some type of healthy lunch and healthy dinner where I'm like eating vegetables. But when you're on vacation and eating at essentially the mercy of like restaurants, it's hard to get those vegetables in.
yeah,
And so
yeah,
that was off. So my food was off, definitely.
for sure. And a lot of people don't realize when you're eating on vacation like that, it's very high sodium.
It is.
So that's breaking down your immune system as well.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
many things that are working against you when you are
Yeah.
traveling. You don't
Mhm.
rest well. You might get some good sleep. You might sit on the
Mm-mm.
beach, but that's not.
No, I didn't rest well because I don't rest well when I have kids with me and I had kids with me because you never know, like if they up in the middle of the night, like, and I don't know, something about it. I was scared that they was gonna like try to go get in the water while we was asleep. Like I was sleeping, they
Oh
would
yeah,
sneak out of the
yeah,
room, try to go get in the water, which they didn't at all
yeah,
because they was dog tired
yeah,
at all. But still, that like not really sleeping because you want to like be aware of what's going on. And so I know I didn't
yeah.
sleep well the whole time. So that was a thing. And then trying to be awake and aware to watch kids in water, which is
Mhm,
stressful.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I'm back and I will learn to vacation better. So, because this whole getting run down just because you go on vacation, this is for the birds.
It's for the birds.
No.
So that means that we have to vacation different.
Yeah.
And that's why we have to make a lot more money because it's like you have to go on vacation, you have to prepare for vacation,
Yeah.
you have to go on vacation. Depends on what kind of vacation it is, because you were seeing after the kids.
Right.
Then you need another week to vacation at home so you can
Mhm.
replenish and reset.
Right. Right.
So we really need a whole month, right?
Say that again. Woo. All right. Here's to a month vacation.
Seasonally.
Right. All right, I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there. Another thing I
Yes,
wanted to
we
do
are.
because I really wanted to, on my Monday yesterday, I really wanted to like sit down and I haven't reviewed because I was going on vacation and July 4th, so I haven't sat down and reviewed my mid-year goals and reset for the rest of the year yet. And so even though I know kind of what's happening for the rest of the year, I really wanted to get down into that. All right. And also I picked the date for the Love Your Numbers seminar. So the Love Your Numbers seminar is going to be Saturday, September the 7th.
Okay. Okay, good.
Saturday, September the 7th. And so
Okay.
location
Gotta
to
put
be
that on my
announced. The
calendar.
location will be determined on how many people register. It's probably going to be around the North Atlanta area though.
Mhm,
So somewhere between Marietta, Alpharetta,
mhm,
somewhere around
mhm.
there.
Okay, that sounds
Yeah.
good. That's gonna
And
be fun.
if it's not that many people, we might just have it at my
It's
house.
gonna be a lot of people.
You
I
think?
can tell you.
Okay. Well,
Mhm,
we'll see. That
mhm,
that'll depend, and it's either gonna be 4 or 6 hours. I'm writing the curriculum now in my head. I hadn't put it on paper, but I'm writing the
mhm.
curriculum now, and this is really about you just having confidence with your numbers and being okay and being able to look at your numbers. So it's not going to be technical. It's really going to be more mindset, emotional. So
Mhm,
what's happening? What's causing you to put your head in the ground as opposed to look at your bank account? And how do
mhm.
you work through that on those days when you know you need to?
Yeah,
And then creating a system slash ritual where you're always aware of your numbers
yeah,
and what's going on and not scared of it.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so I'm so excited about that. So, because I think with me, sometimes I have to tell myself, like, okay, you're not going to get a spanking. You're not going to get in trouble. Like, you're a grown ass adult. Look
yeah,
at the numbers.
yeah,
Okay, I can look at the numbers.
yeah.
Um, And so I really want, because I've seen so many people get hemmed up by their numbers, and then it throws them off, because if you don't know what's going on with your numbers, then when you try to make a move, you can't make a move. You just can't, because you don't know what's happening with your numbers. You don't know where anything is. You don't know where any of your files are. You just don't know. And so you want to make a move and you can't make a move. And then you're hindered because you gotta do a whole 3 to 6 months of looking and digging and figuring it out and everything. So we really want you guys to be able to be successful with your numbers. So when that opportunity comes, you can take it.
Yeah. I think that's a great topic to segue into. And what I was thinking, gosh, it's so much. So the numbers have been really big, but the numbers are, like you said, emotional, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I wanted to talk about some emotional stuff in business today, but I want to go ahead and add the numbers in there, because that's exactly where I am. That's exactly where I am hearing that so many people are, Natalie. And now that I'm able to have the conversation boldly, and also to look at my accounts boldly, and have conversation about it, and not run from it.
Yeah.
I am making a different type of headway. So
Ooh.
that's why
Say
I'm like,
that. What do you mean different type of headway? Talk to us
well,
about that, because I feel like there's something we don't know about yet.
yeah, you said look at the numbers daily. Let me tell you about my business. I've never really looked at my numbers like that on the regular, because I've always had my cousin, my business partner, do the numbers. And I had made a decision early, like I'm going to make the money. I'm gonna make the money. So you handle the money. Let me just focus so I can get out here. Which to a degree is the position of a true CEO, is fundraising.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean in your small business that you don't know the numbers either. So I was, I would make the money and run from the money, make it, spend it, and run from it.
Right.
I don't really want to see what they really are.
Yeah.
So I would get in trouble. Like I ended up he put me on a budget, because I would make the money and I would think the money was there. He was paying the bills, remember?
Yeah.
Well, no, not remember, you don't know, but he was paying the bills.
Gotcha.
The money is there, so I'm thinking the money's there, and I'm running off, spending the money.
Yeah.
And I never was a horrible spender on bad things. And that was a lesson as well. Oh, just because you spend it on such and such, it doesn't mean that it's there. You think you're spending good money and reinvesting. It's still, you got to go through the budget. You got to go through the system.
Right.
I'm like, oh, okay. And also, when I was independent, it looked totally different before I got a brick and mortar, before I had all these other responsibilities, and it was just on me. It was a whole bunch of money there that I wasn't in the habit of budgeting, and then I didn't necessarily have to budget so much because I was solo.
Right.
You understand? I was making a lot of money solo without spending all this overhead. So that was a lot. So carrying the same habits, and this is business and personal. So carrying the same habits over into the new lifestyle is bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like things have changed, things have elevated, working on a different level, bringing in a different type of money, but the money shifted, the lifestyle shifted, but the habits were still the same.
Right.
And that's where the consciousness and awareness comes in. Like you have to be conscious of what the heck is going on. Mm-hmm. You have to be aware of what is happening, in this business and what's happening with my habits.
Yeah.
Big deal.
Yeah.
Big deal. So right now what's happening is I'm looking at spreadsheets. I'm looking at real numbers. Everything is on the spreadsheet.
Wow.
And where the money is going, how much is coming in, in each area, where it's coming, how much more needs to come in, which is really a really great breakthrough. Okay, so this is the budget, this is what you're making, this is what you're spending. Oh, well, this is how much more that needs to come in to accomplish this. And then assigning the money to where it needs to go, spiritually and business wise, have our dreams and our goals. Like, I want to do this and I want to do that. That's good. But, there's some realistic goals that have to happen first.
Yeah.
And this is if you choose to run a real business and not be bootleg or even elevate, from a smaller business to scale up, to a bigger business.
Yeah. All right. So at what point would you say, and I want dollar amount, at what point dollar amount do you need to say, okay, at this point, now you need to up level how you're handling dealing with money? What do you say? What do you think the levels are?
Gosh, I would say, I'll speak from experience.
Okay.
Personal experience. I remember when I got to a point where I could not make less than $10,000 a month to survive in business. And I didn't even know that. I didn't realize what numbers were coming in and what needed to come in. Like, oh, you make this.
Yeah.
But you're spending all of it.
Yeah.
And that's why you don't see your money.
Yeah.
So definitely doing the numbers on what am I spending for real? Because I think it's in our DNA to rob Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah.
We know how to create something out of nothing.
Right.
So especially in this beauty industry, if we make cash, a chunk of cash every day, and we're putting it, in the bank where it needs to go. And this is whether you are, you have an accountant or doing things properly or not. It's just the way you see money. I'm a cash money person. And that's the big shift I'm going through right now, Natalie. Like, I've always been a cash money person daily, right? So I'm used to seeing cash go in every single day. By the end of the week, okay, I know this much is here. This is what needs to be taken care of. Yeah. So now I'm no longer a cash business like that. My money is coming in differently, by retainers and memberships. So that whole identity shift that I teach women about, you are a different woman in your personal life and business and your relationships. So you have to operate accordingly. And that comes with maturity. So number wise, I had to go from 10K a month to absolutely, I had to make another 5K.
Gotcha.
Right. In order to still make it make sense, and that to me wasn't even thriving. That was still just, being above water. And so I remember the accountant like, do you realize how much money y'all make? And where you're making it from, where you make the bulk of your money from.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, wow. Because you don't know when you're hustling like that, you don't know where your money comes from.
You don't know.
Because you think because it's a constant struggle, because those numbers look great, but what's going out and what still needs to happen and the up and down times.
Yeah.
Yeah. I might need to make 10,000 a month, but I might not have made 10,000.
Right. I think I've seen that happen. I've seen that happen in my business, and I've seen it happen in other people's business. That when they start looking at what's actually making them the money and what's not making them the money, they're able to make better decisions and start making more money. Because if I'm spending, let's say if I'm spending 25% of my energy here, 25% of my energy here, 25% of my energy here, and 25% of my energy here. But then when we look at the number and realize, but 90% of my money is coming from this 25% right here, then I can stop those other three and just concentrate on that and go into that full force. And you don't know until you sit down and you look at your numbers and figure out, okay, what's profitable and what's not. And I think that's another thing that we do in business is, or in general, is we'll have great ideas or we'll create a product that we love. Because we love it, we assume that it's profitable and everybody else loves it too. That may not be true. You got to look at your numbers, what's actually selling and what's actually making you the money. And so if it's not making you the money, then you need to let it go. It's a line of business that you need to let go, even though that's the thing you love doing the most, but it's not making you the money. And so I think that's another thing, is learning to read the numbers without your feelings and emotions.
There you go.
Without the
There
feelings
you
and
go, right
emotions.
there.
All right.
Because it's
profitable. This isn't
we
profitable.
run business. Yeah. We run business with too much emotion.
Yeah.
Those are the lessons that I'm moving into now. Like, oh my goodness, they've been trying to tell me for years that it's not personal.
Yeah.
And it is very, very, very personal to you, but you have to learn.
Yeah.
Not be so emotional.
Yeah.
In your decision making.
Yeah.
You know, but how can you not, when this is my baby? This all I got.
Because I think you have to say, yes, this was my baby. It's an adult now. It's a teenager now. It is its own individual entity now. So I can care for it a lot, but now the relationship has to change. I need to listen to what it's telling me.
Yep.
I need to read the signs. I need to interact with it differently. The way you interact with the 1-year-old is completely different than the way you interact with a 17-year-old. And so that's what I'd like for you to think about your business. Yes, it's your baby, but now it's telling you some things, because now it has its own numbers, and it can tell you, hey, this ain't working for us. Hey, we need to do this. Hey, this is not beneficial for us. And learn how to listen. And so I had somebody, I can't remember where it came from, but I think they needed to downsize and they didn't want to do it and wind up going out of business. Okay, but you didn't listen to your business because you knew. And that kind of like, no, I'm not going to do it. It's not going to work. You need to work. I would love for you to see your business as a couple of different ways. So in some ways it's your coach, because it's going to tell you what you need to work on. It'll be, or a good friend, again, it's going to tell you, hey, this ain't working. This is what we need to do. So whichever one of those works for you, that's the way you need to see it. But it needs to be some separation between you and your business. Like, oh, the business is needing this. Oh, the business is needing that, which is very different than, oh, my baby's hurting. And so, and y'all, don't think Cherise and I are there. Like, we are very much working on these things. Like, we've come to these lessons the hard way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And
we've come to these lessons the hard way. I remember one time my account was negative. And I remember where I was when I figured it, when I was like, oh shit, what happened? I was driving on Powers Ferry Road. I don't know what I was doing. I don't know how, but my account was negative $2,500. I was like, what the fuck did you do? Like, I don't know what I did. I can't even remember, but I was like, that ain't even possible.
No, it's possible. It's real possible, because people will it's amazing what will go through the account. You're like, whoa, I didn't know that could happen.
Right.
Why would you do that?
Yes, like I can't even remember what I did, but I was like, oh my God. To the rent check or something. It had to be my commercial rent. That's the only thing that I could think. Just was like, and I also remember that even though that moment is etched in my brain for infamy, I also remember that feeling like, okay, we'll make the money back and we'll get it. It's not like I was 2,500, I'll be negative forever. It was just shit. Damn, I'm gonna have to figure this out over the next 2 weeks of what I gotta do.
Yeah.
And so being able to also trust your business. And I don't know if that comes, let's see, when did I start trusting my business to make money? I don't know, maybe 5, 6, 7 years in. That like the clients will be there, that you can go out and get more clients, that it'll be there. I don't know when that came. When do you think that came for you? What do you think? How many years in?
I started out making a lot of money early. I didn't understand business to that magnitude of what you're saying right now. So I was making a lot of money early, not realizing it was a business. So I think there's a little bit of, I don't think I've ever been arrogant, but extra confidence
Gotcha.
in that I can make money. You know, money ain't gonna ever be a problem for me. Well, when I made my transition to Georgia, what is my
power cord?
Yeah, when I made my transition to Georgia, there was a lot that I had to do. Although I will admit, I built my clientele quick here as well. But the ownership of a brick and mortar is what humbled me. Like, that's when a major transition happened, and realizing like, okay, so this is what needs to happen. Oh, because this is due. And Natalie, do you recall when your Georgia Power came? Like, there was no paying late and there was no paying payments on it. Did you have that situation? Because that was huge for me. Your business accounts, business power accounts, there's no paying late and there's no payments on it. No payment arrangements. When it's due, it's due. So basically commercial accounts.
I did not know that. Only because my power has always been inside the lease. Right.
Some of that right there.
Who knew that?
So that was a big one for me. And you talk about an expensive Georgia Power bill.
Right.
I've never seen a Georgia Power bill 600 or any. It was depending on the date, but $600. Oh, and I can't pay a payment on that. Ooh, turn them lights out. Turn that dryer off.
Right.
keep this power together. Because when we realized that, we were like, because I think the first bill was probably about 400 or something like that. We were already looking crazy. Like, whoa. And then so paid that one, and I think the next few months or so, when money's looking funny and a $600 bill come in the Georgia summer weather.
Oh, yes, girl. Ain't nothing like that.
So we had to build relationships with the people who were handling the bills, because it's like, hey, we need a payment plan, some kind of payment plan. How can you work with this? Because we are adjusting. Like, what do we do now? Like, what happened?
Girl, you want to make me make a power payment today just because that July air conditioning bill is crazy. For my house, it's crazy.
So that brick and mortar life.
You're right.
Ever lived that brick and mortar life and survived. And I had to give myself. I had to think about it. Somebody had to make me realize, like, that you had a brick and mortar in, Atlanta, downtown Atlanta, and one of the most competitive cities in the country for 15 years.
Wow. Look
didn't even realize it. And I could have, when I added up, talk about looking at numbers, when I added up how much money we had spent on the lease for all those years, I was like, I never knew, because it was almost like I was in a matrix for all those years, just in survival mode, you know? So
I think that's a good rule of thumb for anybody who is moving to a brick and mortar is maybe that first year, just concentrate on figuring out what your expenses are. Like in a house, you don't know. I remember my first house, the street light. I'm still shocked. I didn't know you had to pay for the street lights. And so I was like, what you mean? The city don't pay for that? Why I'm getting the bill? And so it's all kind of bills you don't realize you're going to have. And so just know that if you move to a brick and mortar, it's all kind of bills and expenses you're not even
so many.
have.
And you are responsible for so much more than you realize in a brick and mortar. So you have to be, really thorough with that contract and that lease, because the first 2 years we had the son-in-law was managing the building, the complex. And girl, he used to let us get away with all kind of stuff. I say, hey, the toilet, something's going on with the toilet, or something failed or something broke. And girl, he would send somebody over. Well, when the father, who was the actual owner, took it over, because they would do 2 years each. When the father took it over, he was like, I was calling him. He's like, hey, did you look at your lease? And I'm like, no. He was like, I'm not responsible for this, and this.
Ooh.
I was like, oh, okay. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I put out that lease. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And of course, by that time, stuff was starting to break down. And then after you've been in the building for 10 years, of course, even more stuff is breaking down. So it's like, ooh, wait.
I know one of my mentors, she said she owned the building, and in that particular building, I think it had 4 or 5 air conditioners. And she said every year at least one of these air conditioners break down. She was like, I have to keep just $5,000 on deck just because every year one of these air conditioners is gonna break down. I was like, God dog it. And that's in Georgia, that's not acceptable. That's not acceptable.
Completely unacceptable.
So all right. So
that'll teach you to be unemotional though about business.
Right.
I need my money. I need you to pay that invoice on time.
And learning how to ask for your invoices, to go back and say, okay, hey, this didn't get paid. When can you pay it? And if you cannot do that, then getting a friend or somebody to be able to do it for you. Yeah. Absolutely. Because I know people who have invoices out there and the invoice didn't get paid because they didn't go back and ask, because the other person was flighty. That's it. The other person was flighty. And so if you would have just asked and re-asked, you would have finally got the invoice paid. And so learning how to do that, having a good accounts receivable is all of that. All right. So dollar amounts, because we didn't get to that. I think once your business starts making more than 50K, all right, you got a business now. Now you got something.
For sure.
And so if you hit the 50K mark, then you need to sit down and say, okay, what do I need to do? What do I need to be doing differently with my money?
Yeah.
Do you need to be now paying yourself as an employee of the business if you are at 50K or over 50K? And if not, at what level do you want to start paying yourself as an employee through the business, so that you can keep that consistent, your income consistent? I think the next level is going to be probably 150 when you need to sit down, because now, okay, we over 150, we're probably over 10K a month. So we really need to be looking at what's going on. Excuse me, y'all. I'm sorry. In the business. So 150. Then the next level I think is 250. And then you're probably good at 250 to 750 to probably have the same thing. And then at 750, you probably gonna have to overhaul everything because it's after 750, you moving more to 1 million. And once you're over the 1 million, you really need to do that. I'm gonna say at the 150 mark is when you really need to start looking at tax brackets and tax ways to handle your taxes and everything. Like I know one particular lady in her book, Darnielle talks about crossing the $1 million line, but owing $400,000 in taxes. And so having to pay that tax bill was like, what the, and if you haven't planned for that. And so you probably at the 150 mark, definitely the 250 mark, you want to start looking at your tax shelters. Like, how do I need to be running all of this money so that it doesn't wind up costing me? And so in my head, I always, I don't know if y'all remember when Mitt Romney was running for president, but it was that his tax liability was down to 13%. And so that's the goal, to have your tax liability down to between 13 and 15%. And so what do you need to put in place so that happens? So whether that's 401ks or savings accounts or putting more people on the payroll, maybe, so that we're doing that. Because I know one of my colleagues, she just put her husband on the payroll. So she gets a salary and he gets a salary, but that lowers their tax liability for the company by it going through salaries. And so so looking at those various things, and y'all, I know this is a lot to learn, but you got to learn it. And if you don't learn it, then you got to pay somebody to do it for you. And a regular accountant may or may not be able to help you figure out how to decrease your tax liability. There are some accountants who just do the numbers, and there are some accountants who can like give you advice and say, okay, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. This will serve as a good tax shelter for you. And then a basic thing is just making sure you keep up with your expenses. So try to do all the business expenses on one card or one account. So it's easy for you to track your expenses and just, give that card/account to your accountant. This is everything that I've spent.
Yeah.
So,
That's good stuff, which is a lot. It's a
it's a
lot.
lot.
God bless those full-time online businesses
Right.
that, haven't had to deal with the brick and mortar. God bless them.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay.
So,
all right. What else today?
what would be your goal for 5 years from now? Your numbers. How much money you want to be making?
So, the private practice should actually be crossing the $1 million mark in about 3 years. And that's that's very conservative. If I really work hard, we should be able to hit it in 2, but I'm going to say 3 years for that. The coaching practice, I want to hit the $1 million mark in 4 years. So by December 2028, I want the coaching practice to hit the $1 million mark. And so those are the biggest goals right there. I want my house paid off, and I want a beach house. So I would love to get that done in the next 2 years. So that's gonna be the now that this was a bigger vacation that I want to pay for. So I focused on this. So now I got this out the way. Now I want to get my house paid off. And so I've lost a house before. So now it's almost a point of personal pride. Like I never want to be in that position again. And so I'm finna work to do that. So that's a goal. I'm really excited about that. And then I can go by the beach house. So because I
that's really exciting.
want a beach house, y'all. I want a beach house so bad. I want a beach house so bad. So
I want you to have one too, because I want to come visit it.
Right.
I'm
We
not
can have
sure if I want
retreats down there. If y'all had the beach house, we could do the numbers on the side of the beach. Yoga in the morning with the ocean. So so that's the goal.
All right. I have a question for you. I'll talk about my numbers too in a few, but I have a couple of questions for you. What do you feel like was the shift in your mindset that told you can have $1 million business?
Girl, that is a good question. And because it wasn't there 2 years ago. And so what happened is, okay, I'm gonna tell y'all the absolute truth. What happened is my friend Elise went to work for the man, and it was a mental health private practice. And the way he was working with the numbers and looking at the number and saying when they should hit $1 million, then it made me start looking at my numbers differently. And like, oh, that's all I got to do to hit $1 million? Oh, that's doable. And so it really is something about, and I read this somewhere else, but it's being in the room with people who are doing it. So when you are next to people who are doing it, when you see people like you doing it, then you're like, oh, I can do that too. And I'm real good for that because Brian Tracy, y'all know I love Brian Tracy. If y'all know that by now, I don't know what to tell you. I love Brian Tracy. He's my guy. And in one of his books, Brian basically says, if they doing it, you can learn how to do it. If they doing it, you can learn how to do it. You can, if you have learned how to read and write, you can learn anything else. And so when we watched that guy just talk about the numbers and how to hit million, and then I looked at it. And so $1 million in my practice is what, 8 clinicians? Eight clinicians, 10 clinicians, if some of them are working part-time, 10 clinicians. And so that's just about having a system and then making sure that we're doing the marketing to get the people in. And so it's getting these people full. So I currently have, I think 4 clinicians, 1, 2, 3, 5 clinicians. I currently have 5 clinicians. So I'm halfway there. So I really want to get them full, and they're not operating at 100% just because of some various different personal things. So if I got those 5 operating at 100%, I can tell you that my next 2 hires, I know who they're going to be. And so like, it's nice to be at a point where I'm like, that's doable. We'll get there. That's not a thing. We'll get there. And I'm learning, and the skills that I'm learning in the coaching and how to build a coaching practice 100% online is only helping my skills for the mental health practice. And so that's real exciting.
It is extremely exciting.
Yeah.
And I think there is a certain breakthrough when you can even, come in contact with those people and hear what they're saying.
Yeah.
And know, oh, I can do that.
Yeah.
I'm already here. That's still a certain mindset that can hear and embody that. For me, one of my shifts was my friend Chantel is in sales, and she was starting to teach me sales, event sales. And there's a client that was making, over $200K in a weekend during the pandemic. And that's when she was teaching me strategy. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
And that's when it hit me, because I had always heard it. I've always been around a lot of money, but in making cash money. I've seen so many. I've seen, it's ridiculous what I've seen, but it was different when it came from hustling with your hands to an event.
Yeah.
A 1 day or a 2 day event.
Yeah.
Totally different scale. And that's when I was like, oh, okay. And then I also, and you were with me when I was taking the training, the speaker training. And basically, but what I realized was happening then, and they said it, they said, hey, be aware, because a shift is going to happen and it might take you a year or 2. And I was like, I ain't trying to hear that. I already know this, that, and the other. But basically they were saying, like, you're shifting. You're becoming
Yeah.
someone new because you
Yeah.
made this decision.
Yeah.
And who knows what it might look like, Natalie? We don't know
Mm-hmm.
what it will look like. And basically, what I've been doing is living that because I had a lot of shifting to do. I had a
Right.
whole lot of mindset, changes because, the beauty industry, yes, we make a lot of money, but we hustle for it. We hustle
Yeah.
hard for it.
Yeah.
Uh, it's almost like working in a factory, even though it's fun and exciting, it can be glamorous, but it's still, hustling for your money and trading your time for money. And that was a shift that I had decided. It was two things. I knew I wanted to become a marketer. I
Yeah.
had to learn marketing for my people. I had to, because I'm like, we're missing the mark somewhere. All these
Yeah.
talented, gifted people. And it's like, where's the money? It's
Yeah.
in your marketing. Like, people don't know you exist.
Yeah.
And if people don't know you exist, I don't care how good you are. If the right people don't know you exist, your money, you're leaving it on the table. It's out there in the atmosphere for the people who aren't as good as you are.
Mm-hmm.
Because the people are going to find somebody to give them what they want or need.
Right. Yeah. Say that part.
Did they get to the best person yet? Did they get to the person who can really shift their lives yet?
Yeah.
So those were some huge shifts for me. And I got a little frustrated, over the past couple of years because I'm like, wait a minute, I should be here by now.
Right.
Over the last year, I had to really sit still and get patient with myself and the transition. You asked to be a different person. You asked to become a new person. You asked to become a person who made this amount of money and not that amount of money, and a person who makes that type of money like this and not like that.
Yeah.
That is what you're working for.
Yeah.
That is what your transition is. And I'm loyal to it. And it does not feel great. It's a reinvention, it's a purging, it is a reset, it's all the things.
All the things.
But I committed to it. It's days I feel extremely behind. It's days I'm pissed.
Yeah.
What am I doing this for? But in the back of my mind, I know what I'm supposed to be doing. I know this is it. I know for sure. I believe it. It's my knowing, and I'm just embodying the process at this point, because I know in an instant I'm gonna change everybody's life around me.
I think that's so important to say, because we all, me included, want the process to be instantaneous. We want to be able to go take a training, implement it immediately, and get the results. And time again, I'm trying to tell y'all, watch these people, watch how long it actually took them before they got the perfect training, and how many other businesses they had before they got this business that took off in 2 years. You didn't look at the 5 failed businesses, which they learned a lot of lessons in that allowed them. And so make sure you know that, but being patient with the process. And so overnight success takes 10 years. Like, it takes you 10 years for overnight success. And so keeping that in mind, even if you do have a product that takes off immediately, just knowing that immediate still ain't immediate. There's still buying cycles of your clients. There's still production cycles and all of these things. And so just know that learning is part of the process and being patient with it. And then not giving up, just making the decision that I'm going to do this and this is going to work. If they figured it out, I'm going to figure it out. And I think that's the biggest thing I keep saying. If they figure it out, I'm going to figure it out. Ain't no way in the world. Because I've seen some people who are like even nervous Nellies, or just like, and they're running their businesses and they're making money and can't even figure out what to do with the money. It's just like, okay, if they can figure it out, I can figure it out. And so, but being patient with the process, being patient with yourself, knowing that you really do have to learn these things.
Yeah, yeah. And never giving up. Like you don't give up on everybody else, don't give up on yourself. And what that looks like is, just staying with it. Like you've been with it this long, keep with it. And it looks different as it evolves. I know it's not
Right.
it looks different, but I've been in it as I've evolved.
Right.
It just looks different. It's the same path,
Mm-hmm.
but it should look different, right?
Yeah, it should look different.
And a lot of people will look at you and your business and say, "Oh, you're always doing something else," and something different. It's not different. It's the same path. It evolved.
Yeah.
You are to trust that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely so.
Yeah.
Definitely
But I
so.
love that we touch these numbers. These numbers
Yep. And so everybody mark the calendar. Mark the calendar for September the 7th. September the 7th is going to be Love Your Numbers. Love Your Numbers event for micro businesses, small business owners to really come to peace with looking at their numbers and knowing what their numbers are every day.
Yes, I love that.
All right. I hope to be back with you guys next week with higher level of energy. Thank you guys for being patient with me today. And we'll see you guys next week.
All right.
All right.
Have a good
Bye-bye.
one.
You too.